today we want to talk about your partner is delusional. We're going to talk about why peace is so important in the home.
Stop trying to lead and make decisions all the time.
You should not be proud if you raised your voice and screamed at them.
No matter what.
No matter what.
I'm Cass.
And I'm Kathryn. Why am I allowing him to do this in front of our children? Why am I allowing this to happen at all? You don't get to say whatever you want to a man and push him to the point where he snaps.
I might have been a really bad man the other day, but today I went out of my way to be a good man, and she thanked me for it.
Is that you always want to act in the direction you want to go. So
He is just a paycheck. What about his needs?
we're MorrowMarriage.
Let's flip divorce statistics with the new marriage.
Welcome to the MorrowMarriage podcast. That's our last name, not morals, Morrow. And guys, if you are getting value, please subscribe, follow. We want to get this out there. If we can inspire people, if they truly understand, like you, we came back from the depths of hell. We saved our marriage from the depths of hell, the most abusive, toxic marriage. And man, if we can inspire just one person a day, that is a massive ripple effect. And so we need your help. Please, let's do it. All right, today we want to talk about your partner is delusional. I think before we get into it, Kathryn will tell a story, but let me quickly say, here's the thing. There is an alternate reality that you live in when you're fighting. I don't care if you're if you had all the problems that I had or not, okay? When you start protecting yourself and attacking your partner, or blaming your partner, you stop taking responsibility for yourself. Essentially, in that moment that you're triggered, let's go with triggered, okay? In that moment, you start to create your own reality. You distort things that you hear. You see things that just aren't real, and your mind starts to take you in a lot of different directions, okay? And so is your partner delusional? Are you delusional? I'll let you decide, but let's let Kathryn tell a story first, and then we'll get into it.
Yeah. And I think I'd like to just open by saying, just because you're triggered doesn't mean that you're delusional.
Oh, yeah,
but
sorry.
What I'm going to describe is common. So I'm going to tell the story, and then I'm going to tell you what it is that he was suffering from. And I don't think you suffer from it anymore. You're very good at what's called reality checking, right?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
So we were on vacation, and we were going for a walk. I had a little dog, not this dog, but I had a dog in a backpack, and she had been missing for 4 years at one point. So
Right.
when I got her back, I took her everywhere with me, and it was like having a newborn baby. I was so protective. I was so worried. And so I had her in the little backpack, and we were walking to the store. On the way back from the store, we didn't cross the road, and we were it was kind of not a busy highway, but it was a 2-lane highway to get back to the hotel. And it was
No lights.
Yeah. And it wasn't quite dark yet, but the sun was going down. It was beautiful out. So it was a nice walk, and we weren't going far. And so it was just, why take a cab? Let's enjoy this beautiful sunshine.
Mm-hmm. No, it was getting dark though.
A little bit dark, but it wasn't freezing cold yet, but the sun was going down.
Yeah.
But it was summer. It was a beautiful day, which is why we were walking.
Yeah.
And so as we're going back to the hotel, rather than cross the road, and there's no there's no sidewalks.
And there's not really a shoulder. Like it's
not much of it. Yeah. We're in a small town, and it's
just dangerous to be walking on the road.
Especially on the wrong side of the road. And so I said, hey, can we cross the road? Because I feel, and I didn't say the words, I feel unsafe. I might've said, I feel scared of traffic with Griff or something. And he responded something like, we don't need to cross the road, just kind of invalidated my fear. And I said, well, it's, I'd like to be follow the rules. And I was feeling a little bit triggered when he invalidated me. And so I couldn't really get my words out. And I said something like, like the rules of the road, I want to be on that. Because he questioned, why do you want to be on the other side of the road? I said, bikes have to go on one side and you walk on one side. And I was trying to describe it, but I didn't get much out. And he started losing it. Okay, let's go across the road. And so we walk across the road. And so he's screaming at me the entire walk up the road, across the road. And then we start walking to the hotel. About halfway to the hotel, and it was probably a 10 or 15 minute walk. It wasn't very long. He finally stopped screaming, and I was defending myself a lot back then. I didn't know how to not be defensive because I thought I needed to defend myself against an attack. I didn't know that you could disarm an attack with taking responsibility, all kinds of things. I did not know how to disarm him at all at that time. And so I was defending, which was making him amp up and amp up and amp up because he was
attack defense psychopath.
It is, and he wasn't feeling heard because I kept defending myself. And I wasn't hearing him because he was yelling. And again, I didn't know how to disarm him. So we were stuck in this cycle. And I was crying. I was upset. And eventually when he stopped yelling at me, it was because I sort of got him with logic. And because he kept saying that I was yelling at him, but I wasn't yelling at him at all. I was crying. I was scared. I was defending myself, but I wasn't yelling. I was terrified, which often would happen in our relationship because he was very vocal, and he's a big dude. He's physically intimidating, very sexy, but in those moments, not so sexy. So anyway, so he's saying that I'm screaming at him, and in my mind, I'm like, how do I even communicate with this fucker? Because he's the one screaming, yet he's telling me I'm screaming. Like, this is like gaslighting of the century, which I wasn't even.
Nobody even knew what that was back then.
No.
Yeah.
And so it was like just becoming like kind of like a buzzword. And so I'm trying to tell him that I'm not screaming at him, that I didn't scream at him at all. Actually, he's the one that's screaming. All I did was ask. So I'm like, all I did was ask to cross the road. And he said, yeah, but you lectured me about why we crossed the road. And so eventually I said to him, okay, honey, I said, when I started to ask you if we could cross the road, what happened? And he goes, well, fuck, we crossed the road. Because he did. He cut me off to cross the road. And I said, okay, how long did it take us, do you think, to cross the road? And he said, I don't know, 10 seconds. And I said, when we got to the other side of the road, was I still explaining why I wanted to cross the road? And he said, no. And I said, so then is it possible that I was yelling at you this whole time? We're almost back at the hotel. And he was like, he looks at me and he goes, oh my gosh, do I do this a lot? And I said, I think he's going to go get the dog. I said, yeah, actually every day. So in his mind, what he thought happened was I started to, he felt, I'm going to say he felt inferior because I was lecturing him on the correct side of the road. So he thought that I thought I was better than him, which was a recurring theme in our marriage. He thought I thought I was better. I didn't think I was better because I wanted to walk on the other side. I also didn't want to walk on the other side because it was a rule, a law. I wanted to walk on the other side because it made me feel safe with my newborn baby dog.
Just in case you haven't caught on, oncoming traffic shining a light on you can see you instead of coming behind you and you can't see the cars.
Right. So that's why I wanted to cross the road. And so in his mind, though, I lectured him on why I wanted to cross the road and I needed to be right. He thought but I didn't need to be right. I just wanted to be safe. And so when I said to him, is it possible that I was yelling at you and lecturing you if, when you remember when we got onto the other side of the road, who was the one speaking? He's like, well, I was upset by then. And I was like, so it's not possible that I was lecturing you for
however long I said.
It wasn't even 1 minute because it took 10 seconds to cross the road.
That's right.
And so he, in this clarity, said, oh my goodness, well, how do we stop this? So what it is called, if I can get my words out, it's called cognitive distortion.
Mm-hmm.
So we named this, is your partner delusional? Because yes, if your partner is suffering from cognitive distortions, first of all, your partner doesn't choose the cognitive distortion. Your partner thinks that something happened.
It's another reality.
It's another reality.
Yeah.
Thinks that something was said, something was done, and that they believe it to be true. They're not manipulating you. They believe it to be true. He used to also say, we'd be in a fight and he would repeat something that I said. He'd say, you just said, and he'd say something. And I'd say, no, I didn't. And he's like, okay, then, well, if you didn't say it, what did you say? And I'm so scared at this point that I'm like, I don't know what I said, but I know that was not it.
Mm-hmm.
Like I would never have said what, like, cause he would hear things that were really bad.
I'll give you a really good example after, but I think that it's really important to understand. I can't even express how many men go through my first module of my course. I don't even talk about that, but we talk about taking responsibility, like Kathryn said, a way to diffuse. Okay. And, so this takes us in a lot of different directions, but the amount of men that have gone through just the first beginning part of my course that send me a text message or make a note or a comment in my men's group called Lords. And they'll say, holy crap. Like, I've been living in a different reality and I don't even talk about it. I don't even talk about it yet. That's something that we'll cover on coaching because it could really scare a guy, to really freak him out. You have to be super, like that was a logical way she was able to show me. Okay. And so,
and by the way, I could have done it a lot better. Knowing that he felt inferior a lot and that he thought I thought he was better. I could have asked him a question about how he felt about walking on the side of the road to see if he wanted to cross the road without me starting to panic about being unsafe. You can put him in the bathroom, honey. So, now that I know how to, you can't start barking now. Now that I know how to navigate things differently, if I could rewind and think about how he felt, if he was going to feel lectured, if he was going to feel that I was saying that he was making a wrong decision or that he was keeping me from being safe. He was making the situation unsafe, because if he's feeling insecure, he's feeling inferior, those thoughts are going to go through his mind. And that's why he's going to get angry, because anger is a secondary emotion. He was feeling insecure. He was feeling inferior. He was feeling.
Yeah. If you're familiar with my work with the nice guy triangle, that's what that is. You don't feel good enough. And so if you want to know if you're probably having some of these distortions, this delusional alternate reality, this is what I want you to consider. Do you feel like saying, I'm sorry to your partner when you've had a big blow up? And just follow me for a minute, okay? And you just want to give. It's not their fault. You realize all the things you've done wrong, and you give a lot, you love a lot, you're available a lot, like you just pour, but ultimately you feel like you're not getting the same in return, like you love more. And then eventually you start to feel really bad, right? Not good enough, inferior. This isn't fair because I'm actually doing all these other things. I am not appreciated. I shouldn't feel these feelings. And so you end up blaming your partner. You could shut down. If you're like me, I was the extreme rage and I would just blow up. Okay. And ultimately you stay in what I call the nice guy triangle. You create your own reality in these situations. Because what do we talk about in some of the other episodes? Like go back and listen to the ones on insecurity. Your mind starts going in these different directions. One of those is the reality you're stuck in. Let's give the gum story real quick.
Mm-hmm.
So
we've told this on
we did, yeah. Podcast, but just in case you haven't heard the gum story, it's just
another example of a cognitive distortion.
It's such a good story to explain this. Okay, so I'm starting to at this point understand what's going on, but not really get it yet. Okay, I read a whole book on cognitive distortions, but it's really hard to accept. Okay, because it makes you feel crazy. Okay, let's just put it like it is. It makes you feel crazy. And at the time, we were even trying drugs and things like that for me. Like cyclothymia was diagnosed.
You were on Seroquel?
Yeah, that's what it was. Yeah. And so since Learn to Manage, you get off, we just don't believe in that, guys. If you can learn to manage, you get off medications or reduce. But that's another topic. So
not everybody can get off medications. Yeah. By the way, we're not telling anyone.
So I said it's another topic. Yeah, we have to get into it. But what happened was we're driving down the road. And so here I'm driving. I've got my gum. I can't throw it out because there's a vehicle there. And so I'm just like holding my gum in my hand, okay? And I continue to drive, and Kathryn says,
hey, can I throw that out my side for you?
And what I felt was like, so I immediately snapped, right?
Snapped.
Yeah. Like, I don't remember what I would have said or anything like that.
You said, so what am I disgusting now? You think I'm disgusting?
Oh, yeah, that's right. And like, I
thought. No, you said, why the fuck would I want you to think?
Yeah. That's
why the fuck would you want me? Would I want you to throw out my gum? You think I'm disgusting?
Yeah.
That's what it was.
And I think you calmly said, there's no cars out my window. I can throw the gum out my window. Mm-hmm. But that's that feeling where you're not good enough. You're doing things wrong. You feel inferior. Why is she doing that? I don't accept or understand that she's trying to help, that there could be a better way because the reality. And guys, if you haven't caught on, my mind will go in these 9 directions in like 2 seconds, right? 2 to 10. Gone, and grab onto the one that you want, and it's not usually the one you actually want or should want, and then it's bullshit. You got me out of that one pretty quick because we were starting to understand what was going on.
That you already knew that you were suffering from cognitive distortions, and what they taught us my therapist told me that he thought that he was having cognitive distortions, and what you can do is you can do something called reality checking. Mm-hmm. And a reality check is asking. So when he said, why the fuck would I want you to do that? And then he said, he followed it with, you must think I'm disgusting. And then he asked me, he said, do you think I'm disgusting? And he was very angry. So he was reality checking in a very abrasive, rageful way, but he was reality checking. He asked me. So instead of telling me what I thought, because I didn't think he was disgusting, I probably would have put his gum in my mouth and chewed it. So
some in your mouth,
still would.
For sure. Well, not at that time.
I'm a little bit flustered now.
Yeah, not chewing that one. No. Talk about the gum.
No, yeah, reality checking. Sorry, back on track. So he was reality checking angrily. Okay, so do you think I'm disgusting? And I said, no, I just wanted to throw it out my side because, and I didn't say when I first offered, I didn't say there's no cars on my side. Do you want me to throw it out?
Okay.
I said, can you throw that out for me? So then he said, why the fuck would you want? And do you think I'm disgusting? And he was like, well, do you think I'm disgusting? I said, no, there's actually just no cars on my side. And he goes, you were trying to help me? And I said, yeah, I was trying to help you. And you were like, oh, honey. And it just melted him. I'm so sorry. And because he started to recognize that he was creating his own reality and having these distortions when it was nothing. It was not even close to the situation that we were in.
Let's just end on that, because that's such a good point. We'll talk about reality checking for you guys. Maybe we'll do the next episode on that for you. But let's end on that. So in the nice guy triangle, you have to get yourself out of it. You have to stop choosing these other realities. To start looking in the mirror and going, who do I want to be? You start making those choices to stop looking at the past, stop looking at your triggers, stop looking at your bullshit, and go, how do I want to manage my emotions and move forward now? In my case, reality checking was very important, okay? But I want you to just pick up what she just said, right? I melted. Oh my gosh, like, you do love me. So remember I said in the triangle, you're feeling like you're the only one giving, you're the only one loving. Like, it's just not fair, okay? What you need to notice is that more often than not, if that's happening where you're coming on your partner, you're just smothering them like that. You don't even notice their attempts, their bids, their love, their affection. And if it's gone on so far that those bids, the affection, the attention is not really there anymore, that's just a different progression, okay? But in the moment, you were still trying to really work on us. You hadn't checked completely out yet, and you were showing love. And I think it's such a good way to end it. I think it's very valuable. Do you have anything you want to add to that?
No, let's move on to the next one.
All right. Reality check next time. See you guys.